Hello and welcome to the 10th Planet Destiny podcast. We have officially hit the double digit. It is a joyous day here. I am joined today by Tefty, Briar Rabbit, and we have a very special guest for this, our 10th podcast. We are joined by Pope Bear, one of the founders of Dads of Destiny. You want to introduce yourself there, Pope Bear?
Yeah, of course. So I feel like I'm an old man in this community. Looking back, uh, we started KP and SSM, and I started Dads of Destiny way back when, and it was kind of crazy. We thought that it was going to be this tiny thing, and ended up growing into 30,000 plus people, and so that's been a crazy journey, but. Yeah, I've done the Dads of Destiny and handed it off to their capable hands over there, and I jumped on the Dads of Destiny podcast for a little while, and that was a lot of fun. We just focused on Destiny and doing a lot of great stuff there, and I had a really great opportunity to do the Bungie ride-alongs and raid with Bungie. But I'm a big community guy. I love how this community has changed since it was just Xbox and Halo. So the BNet, I spent a lot of time on Bungie.net and a lot of time on the Destiny Reddit subreddit. So those are the places you'll find me hunting.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today. Um, Today, for our 10th podcast, we're doing something a little bit different. We're trying to just do mostly community-oriented questions. We have a couple prepared talking points as per usual, but for the most part, we've been asking for the most part of the week some for various questions from our Twitter, our Facebook, our YouTube page, and we'll get to those during the podcast as well. Starting off, I'd like to go for one of our other talking points. Pope Bear, you've pretty much made the largest, or you were one of the founding members for one of the largest uh, clans in Destiny. Do you think Bungie has supported you like throughout that process? Where could they have done better, and like how do you like the whole clan system that Bungie has for Destiny?
That's actually a really really good question. I think of my thoughts on that as sort of an evolution from back in the original starting of the Dads of Destiny when KP and SSM and I were sitting around looking at the structure of how things would grow. We looked at the alliance system and the cap on how many clanmates you could have as a real like handcuffing of what we could do. We wanted to grow the biggest clan. We wanted to grow and invite as many dads of the community into our clan as possible. And these caps and these tools on Bungie.net were really restricting.
Mm-hmm.
So I think early on we felt like that some of these original things were not very supportive of us, and some of the tools within BNet, like how to chat rooms and how to get people organized, and it just felt like it was a really uphill battle. But yeah, so I think it's sort of evolved in my thinking though over the time that I've been playing Destiny, and I realized that a lot of these really close personal connections that the community gets from clans really need to happen in sort of these small microcosms, and that you can have large organizations like alliances that gather lots of different clans together, but there's smaller groups that get to know each other and really get to be, these are the guys you know by first name and that you play with every night. And so for a lot of those smaller clans, I think BNet is perfect, right? It
Yeah,
um,
yeah, definitely.
survives. It provides everything you need to survive and communicate. But for a lot of the larger clans, including you know Dads of Destiny, we had to move off site. So a lot of
Okay.
the tools and things that we had to get them somewhere else.
like that the way like the things that you're talking about there, that's been my major thing with trying to do a PlanetDestiny clan. I want to have, an end kind of in-game community thing that we could roll out there, but my biggest thing is managing it is huge. If I were to make a PlanetDestiny clan for all the consoles, I can't manage that. I mean, we have 100 and almost 200,000 subscribers right now, and like for one person trying to manage that is a little bit rough.
It was extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Does it get impersonal once a clan gets that big too? Do you ever see the same people over and over again? Do you just add those people to your friends list, and then, what happens with a clan that big? It just seems crazy.
At first, I was just accepting any friend request that came my way, right? And I realized that it was extremely difficult to play with everybody that would want to play with you, or that you that would join the clan, right? And it became almost impossible. And like you're saying, I mean, it became impersonal, and at least for me, we had our core group of people that you played with, and we supported a larger organization, but it did lose some of that intimacy that you got from, I don't know, earlier clans, or like Halo clans and things like that, where there weren't, as many people.
Yeah, and with like the Vault of Glass, you're committing to spending a lot of time with this person once you.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Well, and it worked. It worked. It worked from a social clan perspective. Like, I think you break down the community. The community comes in many different forms, and I think that this is really what's intriguing about the Destiny community, is that it's the first console game that's really tried, that's really blended a lot of the different communities that are out there. You have PvP players. You had that came over from Call of Duty and Halo. You have MMO players that came over from World of Warcraft.
Yep.
And you got Skyrim players and Far Cry players. All these people came from their respective communities expecting something different. Mm-hmm. And you've got an amalgamation, like this melting pot of different wants and needs. And I really look at what Bungie's task was to make all these people happy as nearly impossible. And so for me, we experienced a lot of that same growth and growing pains within the Dads of Destiny, because everybody's expectation of what a clan was different. First-person shooter clans are just, hey, everybody, let's get on at this time and shoot some shit, right?
Yeah, let's do some 360 montages.
Right. I mean, and then you look at the MMO community, and it's like a brotherhood, right?
Yep.
Yep. These are the people that know you're like most. You spend so many hours with them that like they know on raids and things like that. They know everything about you, and they're like so close to you. So I think that I think the challenge for Bungie and for the community was to adapt to all these different perspectives and beliefs of what a gaming community was. And we're different now than we were when we started. Our expectations have all changed and we've kind of influenced each other. And now we're something unique, I think, unlike the other, what we came from. So I think that in general, the Destiny community has gotten stronger because of that diversity. And it's really, really, really intriguing to see how the community has changed in such a short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the LFG services,
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
All those springing up, and then everybody getting to play with people that they never would have played with before, and gotten into situations that typically never would have happened with these raids, and that immediately was a community builder right there. Like, nobody thought that decision to not have matchmaking would have spurned so much community immediately,
Right.
I'm really happy they didn't include matchmaking now.
Me too. Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
A lot of my clan I met through an LFG site. I just kind of randomly got with them. They were looking for somebody for Crota, and now I've shared my phone number with these guys. We're so close, it's like It's amazing.
Yeah, all my raiders that I mainly roll with all came from LFG. I just
Yeah.
added people that were fun to play with, and we're good. You know,
Yeah,
and that is
and I
because Bungie decided to do that type of process and not let an automated system take that place.
and I think a lot of people were really frustrated with Bungie that they didn't include that in the game to
Hmm.
begin with, right? That those weren't features
Yeah.
in the game. And I, you know, we've heard it from Deej and other Bungie guys that it's it was why create something that they knew the community was going to be able to create better on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's kind of a rough way of looking at it, that they could have included matchmaking or, but think about it. I mean, if you're shipping a game, a new IP and shipping, and what do you want the developer focusing on? I mean,
Right.
those are times, and that's time and resources. In my view, I would prefer them to focus on the game and then leave the social and community features for the community to figure out. I personally have no problem with the fact that, when the clan got to 15,000 people, we started looking for an offsite website. We outgrew Bungie.net. So, I mean, I guess I don't really see a problem with the developer coming in and saying, there's going to be a community that's going to grow out of this. We don't know what that community is going to look like, and we don't
Hmm.
know what they're going to need, but we're sure as hell going to support them with whatever they come up with, and I think that they've done that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they certainly have.
Yeah, like
Yeah, definitely.
and a lot of my analogies are usually to World of Warcraft because that's where the main game I played. But like at the start of World of Warcraft, they were like, there's never gonna be a guild over like 500 people. Oh, within the first, I think it was 2 months, a Goon Squad formed, and they had to have like 5 different Goon Squad guilds to hold all their members until they finally kept upping the member count. And I think it is an interesting choice on Bungie's part to kind of limit the amount of members that can be in a clan at the same time, because they probably also just didn't know how many people would be in a clan or how
Yeah.
many people or like say the fact that they wanted to, a lot of the community wanted a matchmaking service for the raid. Well, how would that matchmaking service work? What would be the best way to use it for the raid? They don't know. That's a very community oriented thing that you have to playtest with the community. And we've already kind of done that ourselves with the looking for group tools. So as you said, like we did it better than Bungie could have done.
Hmm.
Yeah, I had a really interesting conversation with Deej about this in when we were doing the Cosmodrome, the Earth ride along, and it actually stemmed from some pretty interesting research on numbers and group theory. They did a lot of research on sociological research on what numbers would represent the most effective groups. And it turns out that there's actually a lot of evidence that show that groups above 150 start to become impersonal and degrade
Hmm.
in their ability to
Yeah.
communicate. And so it's really interesting how they came up with that number. There's a lot of work that went into generating that number. It wasn't something they just pulled out of their.
It's the monkey sphere. Yeah,
Yeah.
have you read the cracked article on the monkey sphere?
No, I haven't.
It's from ages ago, like when that website was first around. But I don't even know if it's real, but it sounded real enough, so I'll just say it here. It's like you can we can only really care about so many people in our lives, and it has to do with like the size of our brain. God, this sounds like pseudoscience now that I'm saying it, but whatever. It makes for a good analogy here, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've
yeah.
actually read a lot of research on that about 100, like a group or a village of 150 people can know each other, or a company of 150 people working with each other, and then when it goes beyond that number, things start to fall apart, and the care behind it
Yeah,
is not as intense.
the
You know?
study, the name of that study, like if people wanted to like look into it further, it's called Dunbar's number, and it's a really interesting way, not to bore you guys, but it's a really interesting research on how that, and it kind of explains what you're talking about. Dunbar, it's Dunbar if anybody wants to look it up, but They looked at the social nature of primates and how that all
Yes, I
came
was
about.
right.
Yeah. And so yeah, so they found correlations between primates and behavior and um, how their effective groups and when groups in the animal kingdom split apart and when do they fracture and fissure and so it's really phenomenal like the that Bungie would put that much time and energy into thinking of clan size, right? We think sometimes the community thinks that like this is just they threw a dart at a dartboard and said, okay, I guess 150 is a good number. But
Nailed it.
yeah, nailed it. So it's really interesting to hear some of the background to how they come up with some of these design and development decisions.
So it sounds like you actually interact a lot with the Bungie. Does like Dads of Destiny? Does your group interact with Bungie and like the creator that community as well a lot?
Yeah, it's funny that you're mentioning that because it's started way back when we were forming. Deej dropped into our forums and we really liked what we were doing and kind of spent time popping in. We were an early community focus. We called it actually the Deej effect. When every time he pointed us out, we jumped like we tripled in size. So uh, after Deej 1.0, um, we started seeing him around more often, and he was kind of keeping an eye on us for something unique that we were doing. And he circled back around and invited us to go on a ride along with on the Cosmodrome with the world lead that designed it and that worked with the team that designed it. And we really got a lot of the backstory there. And so we've had really great opportunities to work with Bungie. And one of the things that we implemented was a like a community gives back thing where we were trying to we knew that these guys were like hammering at the raid and really focusing on building the game and not raiding, not playing themselves. And so we opened up our clan mates. We formed fire teams that would we would invite Bungie employees in to get a raid experience and a guaranteed finish.
Find that seventh chest in the Vault of Glass, maybe.
Right, and so that's neither confirmed nor denied. So it's actually funny that like people. I was in the Crota raid with Urk and the Crota designers, and when he was mumbling to me, I think we went out to take a pee break. Everybody went offline to take a pee break, and I was reading something, mumbling something about like the notes because we were live streaming, and Urk was commenting about something completely different. But when you listen to the live stream, it sounded like he was saying that there was a confirmed, additional chest in Crota. And so like
I remember that.
the next day, all these people were tweeting just crazy like saying confirmed. Urk confirms that there's and I remember going back and listening to the audio and I'm like, that didn't happen. And I went back and I listened to the audio and I'm like, oh my god, it matched up so wickedly perfect that it sounded
Yeah.
like he was responding to a question that I was asking myself. And I don't know, it was funny. But yeah, no, we've had the opportunity like Bungie's amazing at being part of the community. And you'll be surprised at how many of the developers play within the community and then just don't tell the people that they're playing with that they work at Bungie so that they can hear what's going on without it being censored.
Mhm.
So there's
that
a
must hurt.
lot of that going. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like
man.
somebody saying your baby's ugly right in front of you.
Yeah. No Land Beyond again?
Well,
Damn it.
I know that they do that and a lot, and I've just had a really great opportunity because of the Dads of Destiny and the podcast to play with a lot of them. But I can confirm right here that they play as much as we do, and they're just as passionate about this game as we are.
That's
cool.
That is good to hear, and I hope they would at least play the game that they make.
But I mean, like addicted, like we are, not like just playing casually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see them on all the time.
They're not they're not filthy casuals, right?
Oh yes, they're not.
They all probably have the cheat codes to give them strange coins so they don't have to run the
You
run the
Yeah.
weekly every week.
It's
Boost their drops.
hilarious that they're like. I remember tweeting out that I'm like 31 days played and I still don't have a Calahorn. And the next day I was in a party with somebody from Bungie and I threatened to sue them if they didn't give me a Galahorn. And I mean obviously I was kidding. But the next day I got a Galahorn and I remember going, "Yes, it worked. The threat of lawsuit."
What are the chances?
Yeah.
It's
It
funny
took
when I
me-
read the
yeah.
weekly updates, they often different Bungie employees will be in those weekly
Yeah.
updates, and they'll often reference the fact that they don't have a specific gun that they're looking for.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
seen that, yeah. I just got mine a couple weeks ago, and this is March. I've been playing since September. So it took
Congratulations.
me a while to get
Yeah.
the Galahorn.
And it took you a day to rank it up, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. I
You're
had
gonna
all
get that
telemetries
ranked up
all
as
stacked.
fast as possible.
Yeah. I was like 40 rocket telemetries ready
Yeah.
for that.
Oh,
that
yeah.
ball horn.
I love that.
Whenever I get a new exotic weapon, it gets ranked up really, really quick as well. Like every time for one of the reviews, it's like, oh, I just got Fourth Horseman. Okay, and then like 4 hours later, okay, it's fully leveled. Time to.
Did you guys have?
I used to be like that until Xur started upgrading them after Dark Below,
Yeah.
and then I lost my will to do bounties.
Yeah.
Oh,
I tried to
that's-
upgrade too
that's
many at
horrible.
once, and it was
Yeah.
just like, this is just a grind.
Did you guys have an issue with the Mida multi-tool?
I love it.
Well, I
An
mean,
issue with it?
ranking it up. I mean, I love it too. I use it a lot in Crota in the Lantern phase because as a slow Titan,
Hmm.
it actually gives
Oh,
you
yeah.
that +4, agility boost, +6 actually. So it was crazy hard to rank that multi-tool up. I must have put 30 bounties into it. I don't
Really?
I didn't know if mine was glitched out somehow, but
Maybe you just like had bad luck and only got the 2,500
no, I'm telling you, I had
XP bounties.
I dropped 30 bounties into that thing, and I
Telemetries.
no bounties, yeah, and using telemetries and everything, and it
Oh, wow.
took forever. I've been meaning to ask other people if they had a similar
It
experience.
usually takes me about 20 or so bounties,
Mhm.
give or take. Yeah, it's about 20 to 30 bounties to fully level up an exotic, all the
Yeah,
way
I guess
to
it
like
could be normal then.
For me, it's
Yeah.
been more. It's usually like at least 30 for me.
Okay.
Just from like thinking about, because I have 300, so I'll just switch everything over and max out everything, and it seems like 3 or 2 full resets usually gets it just about maxed out for me on those weapons.
I have never counted.
I've counted.
Uh,
I've had to, for some of the reviews, like for Fourth Horseman and No Land Beyond, the ones that I got were unleveled because it was like day one of the DLC.
Oh yeah.
So I had to level those up, and thankfully those viewers let me play their accounts for 12 hours straight. So I had to just sit there and do all the bounties on all their characters, and it
Do the bounty glitch.
do the bounty glitch, and it's like, okay, finally I can do this review. I have a good idea of how bad No Land Beyond is.
Yeah. Maybe I've just had more 2,500 ones instead of 5,000 ones.
That
when I
that
do
that
it.
is the major thing. Sometimes you'll just get bad days where there's just 2,500 ones, or
Yeah.
ones that are, kill 3 things with your super 20 times, and then go kill
Oh,
two
yeah.
kill 2 things at once with a fusion rifle, and then go do 3 daily events, and you're just like,
Yeah, 100 precision shots.
yeah, and just,
before the Dark Below came out, I had been planning, ahead of time, and I had 3 Titans, a lot like you, 3 the same character, and I saved only the 5,000 bounties. So I had on
Yep,
each one
I
of the
did the same thing.
characters, I had 10 5,000 bounties, right? And I feel like at the when the Dark Below came out, the Murmur dropped, and I'm like, okay, this has got to be the gun that I want to rank up first.
Oops.
So I used up all my bounties, ranking up the murmur, and I mean, it was a good fusion rifle, but it wasn't like 30. It wasn't, it wasn't 30 bounties worth, and
Funny.
so I felt like I had made a small error in
You
judgment.
should have saved him for the Eidolon ally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did the same thing. I edged all my Vanguard rep
Yeah,
and also had all my 5,000 bounties ready.
sure.
And so I hit level 31 basically within 24 hours of the DLC dropping, just so I could. I had it prepared. I went into the raid first to experience it, and then I heard reports about being level 31 and needing the commendations, and so I hit everything over and then maxed out that armor immediately.
Did you try to do a world's first at all?
Tried, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where we are,
was-
where we ultimately ended up.
I think we didn't. We tried to do one for like the original Crota, and that didn't work out because we got started like 45 minutes after, so that got blown.
Yeah.
But for the hard mode Crota, we had a group do it, and we were like I want to say about 45 minutes to an hour and change off of the world first time for
Nice.
hard mode Crota.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we ended up completing ours about 2 hours after it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you try to do it blind, or did you,
We did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
blind.
Yeah, I really, I was playing with, I jumped on with the Dungeon Protocols group to do the world's first, and that was a really great experience. But we didn't, we got hung up on Crota, and but I think in the end it took us, I think for our first that day we was like 5.5, maybe 6 hours.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a tough grind, and now you can think about it. You can jump in and beat Crota in like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
From almost from the start of the raid too. Like
Yeah.
a full clear the entire raid without wipes is like 20 minutes
Yeah,
maybe.
pretty easily. That's
Yeah.
that's leisurely too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely I think in one of their podcasts they were either the podcast or one of the ride-alongs they were talking about the feel that they wanted to bring to the raid and how it differs from Vault of Glass, and like this one was totally wanted to be like an action movie type thing, and then that feeling of desperation, and they really did capture that. Once you kind of learn the fights, everything feels so quick and fast paced.
Yeah, that was during the ride along, and I remember asking, I'm gonna apologize because right now I'm having a brain fart and I can't remember the name of the Crota designer that was in there with me, but we were talking about how the purpose of the lamp section and how important it was to get this feel of just like a threat coming from everywhere, and how the Crota raid was supposed to be this, just dramatic, fast-paced experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I equated it to when I was explaining it to somebody. I said, it's if Vault of Glass is like sleeping with your wife, Crota's end is a lot like one night stand. So I don't know if you're gonna need to edit that out.
Yeah. No. We'll keep it.
All
We'll
right.
keep it. We're good. I guess that's a good comparison. Yeah.
It just feels so fast paced and frantic, and you don't know. You wake up. You wake up the next morning. And you're curious at what mistake you just made. But no, but the Vault of Glass seems to be like this thing where it's just like everybody knows their role, and if everybody does it right, you get the reward, right? And it just seems like Crota, there just seems to be this, all hands on deck, just fast paced, rush to the end.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's get to a couple of the questions from YouTube. I'm going to answer two of the really short ones here first. Will the PlanetDestiny app be free? Yes, it will. And does PlanetDestiny take monetary donations? Not at the current time, but if you want to donate, if you go to our YouTube page and like the actual YouTube page, right-hand side, there's a support button that you can click and put $1, $5, $1 million, doesn't matter. Okay, those are the short questions. Um, one of the big questions, or from just a lot of people, has been how would we handle armor customization in the game? Because right now, if you're level 32, you're gonna look the same as the other level 32 as a class, or at least as far as the same classes would go. And the only thing that really changes is like what exotic you're wearing, your class item and shader.
This is the reason that I grinded so hard on Iron Banner this week. I wanted a chess piece for each of my characters.
Oof.
Yeah.
Did you get all of them up to 5?
I got all of them. I went
Oh
for the
my
Warlock first. I had
God.
never played Warlock in Crucible at all, so that was a learning experience.
Oh yeah, you were complaining about that the first day.
Me too.
And then
Me too,
I
actually.
went with the Hunter, which was just a breath of fresh air. That just felt good. That got done really quick. And then I went with the Titan, which I actually thought was the hardest of all 3 classes. Because I just felt so slow compared to after just coming off the Hunter. But man, I really enjoy having those 3 new chest pieces, the new pieces of leg armor. I just feel like I look a little bit different than everybody else in my raid team now.
I think the way Bungie is going to handle this and is something like transmogrification, but looking more at how do you use some of the, and I'm just guessing here, but how are you going to use some of your resources that, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I have close to 1,000 ascendant shards and like
Yep.
800
Yep.
ascendant energies, right? How are we going to use some of those resources and materials? And I mean, if I was thinking about it, why would there be a vendor or somebody that you could pay or an upgrade tree that you could utilize those to bring them to the new light level so they would become relevant?
That would be really nice.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I think there's going to be some sort of transmog thing coming into the game. Bungie always throws us a lot of curveballs, so we really don't know what method they would use.
No.
But yeah.
Well, thinking about it, like I think there's 2 ways to go about it. One is the expensive way, and then the other is the what do we have resources right now way. And this is theoretical Bungie talking right now. If you were to collect the pieces of gear that you like the look of, and then be able to insert them into a transmog slot over at a vendor somewhere in the tower,
Right.
that would be the most that would make the most sense right now with the current resources. So I could see that happening, and like you said, spending ascendant shards, like 6 ascendant shards gets you a transmog. That'd be really cool. But what would be even better is if they actually had pieces that you could find in the world to customize pieces of armor.
Ooh.
Oh, that would be so slick.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Like you could do like, I don't know, maybe not bounties, like exotic bounty style stuff, but maybe something along those lines where you find things out in patrols and all that, and then be able to have these pieces to fit and customize the armor to be more unique. That'd be really cool.
My
But
guess
that
is we
costs
won't be
more money.
seeing this. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that it would be a lot more production value involved with that.
Yeah, my guess is that's why we won't see it till Destiny 2 is because they'd basically have to rewrite the entire database for the game
Yeah,
to
that's
account
true.
for all this, like all the different changes for all the different gear, as
Yep.
opposed to having here is, the raid gear that can be level 32. Now you have to have here is every piece of gear and what it could be upgraded to and what it could look like. So
Yeah.
it'd be a massive undertaking.
That's true.
Hey, I
Or
think,
you know what it could be? Sorry to
it's
interrupt,
okay.
but maybe if you broke down a raid piece of gear, you would get one of those items that can transmog it into something.
Yeah.
So there'd be a reason to actually go back and get a bunch of these duplicates of chest pieces and gauntlets and shoes and all that, and even weapons too. Because like I'd love to transmog a weapon into something that's a little bit more unique.
Yeah,
like
there's some like blue level weapons that look really cool.
the Bengal one. Did
Yeah.
you see that scout rifle? That thing looks awesome.
yeah, and I think that while they're at it, they could allow us to, during this transmog process, apply some sort of shader or skin to the guns.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely.
that's
I-
out
there
there.
was
I
a
love that.
there was a really cool video that came out like a week or so ago about different shaders in the game. It's like, hey, here's ship shaders, and then here's weapon shaders, and they have like cool flames going down the side of it, or like all black, or like that video was awesome, and just seeing all those different weapon designs was really cool. It made me really wish that Bungie would have included that in the game right now, but definitely
There's
something
so
that-
much though, right? It's they
Yeah.
did so much to the game already. Like they could only, I mean, how much could they feasibly have done for the original release of Destiny?
Yeah.
It's it's like everybody
true.
wants more stuff, but they had to call it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of like more stuff, did you guys see the weekly update today?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
official.
More stuff.
yeah, we get to hold more stuff in the vault.
My
Were you guys a
pack
little
rat
bit
dreams come
disappointed
true.
by?
Numbers?
Were you guys a little bit disappointed by the amount of new stuff? Like 16 more slots for weapons, 4 more slots for.
I honestly
Armor.
had my expectations
I was.
pretty tempered.
Yeah.
Just because I knew that memory constraints were going to be a thing. I didn't think memory constraints on the console side were going to be an issue, which was what I was surprised the most about.
Yeah.
Was that they could only we could only view so many items at one time due to the last gen consoles memory constraints. Like the Xbox One or the Xbox 360 only has 512 megabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
That like my phone has more than that.
And to get up to this point, they're going to actually lose functionality on the Xbox 360 and PS3.
Exactly. So
They're not going to be able to compare weapon stats inside the vault.
with that in mind, do you guys think Destiny 2 is going to be for current gen consoles only?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. There's.
Yeah.
I think it would be a huge mistake for them to try to code, or the game for, not necessarily just the coding part. I think that to spend the resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be all hands on deck for the new consoles, and then really push out and make a kick-ass game.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
new consoles are selling so fast that I think just financially it makes sense to sell. They're going to want to be selling this as like a next gen, like top level game, and to make concessions for these older consoles that less and less people are going to be buying games for. I don't think that's going to make sense in the years to come. And I think it's happening quicker this generation than it's happened in past generations.
Now, here's a quick question that I want to throw out there to you guys. Do you think now Bungie said that your character will continue and your progression will continue?
Yes.
On Destiny 2. Do you think that everything's going to continue? Like, do you think the Galahorn's going to come over? All the exotics are going to come over? Or do you think they're going to phase some of them out?
I honestly hope that. Now brace yourselves. I honestly hope they don't.
You're gonna get so much hate mail.
I'm gonna get so much
Prepare
hate
for the flames.
for that comment, but I
man.
honestly
The wolves
hope
will
they
descend.
don't.
I agree with you, Patrick.
And the reason being,
I want everything.
is while yes, I've already grown so attached to certain weapons and everything. Part of the thing about getting a new game is all the new content that's going to be there. And if I'm still attached to some of these older things, and how useful they are, then I'm not going to be able to fully experience the game and how Bungie put so much work into the new game. I'm not going to be able to experience all that. So while I do want them to come over, I think the best choice is just to have our characters transfer over. And then maybe one of the big draws for Destiny 2 would be like a transmog system, or transmogrification system. So if they were able to implement that into the game, like all of your older armor would come over. So hey, you can at least still look like you have, OG Vault of Glass gear.
OG VOG?
Yeah, OG VOG. Had to work that out in my head for a second.
No, I think there's a lot to be said about giving legacy characters, legacy players, something to show off in Destiny 2, right? And finding some way of bringing over something, that shows that you have history, and I think that's right up the lane of Bungie. They love to recognize in different ways, whether it's your player card or a number or something on BNet that distinguishes you as somebody that's been around for a while. They want to honor that. So I don't see that. I see that like what you're describing as something within their thought process.
Yeah.
I
So,
think
h-
I
how
want to
does-
see the stuff
sorry.
move over. I want to see the Galahorn move over to Destiny 2. I just want it to be outclassed by newer stuff,
Yeah.
so that for the next 10 years, the Galahorn isn't the best rocket launcher.
Yeah.
But
in
it's got
Destiny
wolf
2,
pack
3, 4.
rounds.
See, that's what I'm wondering. I wonder if they're going to phase it out with an upgrade structure that's locked to types of items. So if it's in Vanilla Destiny, it can only be upgraded so much. And then
Oh, good.
post Vanilla Destiny, Destiny
It's
2,
that World of
those
Warcraft
exotics.
talking, right?
Yeah. Is that how World of Warcraft does it? Because I've never played World of Warcraft.
There's only ever been like one or two instances of that happening in vanilla World of Warcraft. The best weapon in the game was Thunder Fury because it was a really fast swinging sword. It was legendary, the highest quality at the time, and both the tank classes and DPS classes wanted it. In Burning Crusade, the first expansion that came out, that weapon was still held in its extreme, to its extreme standard, to the point where Blizzard had to nerf that weapon because it was still so good. That even though there was a whole nother expansion's worth of content, this one legendary weapon was still the absolute best for tanks.
It's
So,
Fatebringer.
Sounds like
yeah.
a Fatebringer.
Yeah,
No, I was just thinking that.
basically Fatebringer.
You're basically talking about Fatebringer.
Exactly.
So how did they evolve out of that then? Aside from nerfing it, I mean, can you still get that weapon and use it?
Yeah,
in
you can still
today's
get
World
it.
of Warcraft?
You can still get it. You can still use it, but the power level of everything increased so much that the only time that you're using that is just for cosmetic purposes. It's not useful at all.
So that's what I'm talking about. The
yeah.
power level, essentially the attack damage
Yeah.
level of these numbers that, to me, only look like numbers right now. They don't make me feel like they're actually doing 331 damage versus 300. But I know that they actually do more damage. But I'm just saying that it doesn't feel like it's a big difference right now, and that's why Fatebringer feels like still powerful. So that's why I'm wondering if Destiny 2 is going to make it that way, where these exotics get they don't get phased out, but they get left behind in their upgrade structure.
I think that's probably what will happen, and it really pains me to say that because
Hawkmoon.
it's like Hawkmoon, we
Yeah.
won't be able to get Hawkmoon again.
Well, there'll
But-
be a new Hawk.
Well, yeah, there'll probably be a new
Will there?
Hawkmoon, but
Will there
Hawk
be a
Sun.
new Hawkmoon?
Should there
at
be?
the same time, like the Xbox
Son of
players,
Hawkmoon.
the Xbox players aren't they're only going to be able to experience the awesomeness of Hawkmoon for a year or so
When
before
did
Destiny 2
they
comes out.
get it?
I
believe
believe it's
September.
fall of this year.
Yeah, September, October. Yeah.
I think it's
Well,
supposed
actually-
to come with Comet.
That's when it's officially, or they said it's at least a year that it's exclusive. So we
Yeah.
actually don't know if it's going to be right at the year mark. They might, I don't know, they might extend it further, which would suck, but, business.
I think it was supposed to be October or something like that.
Yeah.
We were talking about this earlier, but Ben Kloppenberg from YouTube asks, how many characters do you guys have, and what are they? And then I think there was another person who wanted to ask, what's your favorite exotic weapon? So we can probably bake that into there as well. Tefty, you want to take that one first?
Sure. Well, because I have 2 accounts now, a PS4 account and an Xbox account, I have 6 characters.
Oh.
That's right. The favorite exotic is a tough one because it's very situational. But if I had to choose one that I would see follow me through Destiny 2 and maybe the future, I would be really sad if I didn't have an icebreaker anymore. That
Ooh.
thing is so useful in PvE. I mean, it's in the Iron Banner this time around. I got to use icebreaker.
Hey, you were wrecking face with that.
Yeah, and I never use icebreaker in PvP, and it turns out it's awesome in PvP.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still prefer low stability or high stability sniper rifles, but I was having a great time with that weapon in PvP, and also was just regenerating ammo anytime I'm walking around shooting people with my Fatebringer, because that's all I had at the time. And if I didn't have the icebreaker, I think I'd be really sad, because I use that pretty much 90% of the time for PvE.
Briar.
I got 3 characters. Well, I got 5 characters. I got 2 neglected characters on the Xbox One.
Two
But I got
stepchildren.
I got all 3. I got the. I mostly use Voidwalker, Gunslinger, and Defender Titans.
You're here.
And Man, the exotic, they're all so much fun to use. I guess, though, my heart really belongs to Thorn. It's To me, it's the most exotic looking of all the exotics, and even before it was a good weapon, I still loved using it. With the damage over time and the green shots that came out of it, and the sound of it, and just the overall look and feel of the weapon, they're just fun to use.
Pope Bear, you wanna go up next?
Yeah, absolutely. Those are all really good, like, suggestions or favorites. I think I would have arguments. I couldn't argue with either one of those. But for my personal play style, for me, I really enjoy the last word. I'm an in-your-face PvP player, and the last word, there's just nothing like it. It's so satisfying. So yeah, that's my gun. And I take it everywhere I go.
As far as characters that I have, how many characters do you
Yeah,
have?
I'm sorry, I forgot that part. It's I have a stepchild on Xbox, a hunter on Xbox, and then I have up until recently I deleted two of my Titans. I had three Titans, so I deleted two of them, and I have a Titan, a Warlock, and a Hunter now.
Okay. I also have one of each class. I only have 3 characters total. I haven't gotten the Xbox One. I don't think I ever will. But I have one of each class mainly for PlanetDestiny related reasons, so I can always have a class to do videos on. And as far as exotics go that I would take, I'm just going to be crazy here, and I'm going to take No Land Beyond.
Oh, yeah, I gotta be kidding me.
No. I'm gonna be that guy because
You are not.
no one else will pick that. No one
It's
else.
true.
And
You're correct.
And then
Nobody else is gonna take that.
I'll be that guy. It's like, and they see on the leader, or they see like in the opening thing when you see your team roll down, you see some guy standing there with a 12-foot long rifle. They're like, oh,
Space musket.
oh
Yeah.
shit, this guy's here.
The guys that are good with that gun are good with it.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
actually a really good rifle, and but for the people that are good at that, but you're either really good and it clicks with you, or you stink to high heaven and you can't wait to shard that thing.
Yeah.
But the guys that I've seen that make I don't know if you know the clan Resolute clan. There's a guy on there, Hovey, who just freaking tears apart with it, and I mean it's just this freak of nature thing. I think some people just get it and they're phenomenal with it. So I can understand that.
Yeah, definitely. My main issue with it is like, oh, it kills in one shot to the head. You have to adapt your playstyle to it. I'd rather just use a normal sniper rifle because it still kills in one shot to the head, and it has faster fire rate and everything else. But
And you can see through the scope.
Yes.
When you read the perks on it, it would be really, really cool
if it didn't have mulligan.
if No Land Beyond, like if you got a kill with the headshot, right? A one-shot kill with a headshot, that for a short period of time, every subsequent kill would be a one-shot kill, body or head, right? Like you had
That'd be awesome.
a timer, right? That says your first shot is it's a montage gun. So
Oh, yeah.
so you get a one shot kill, and then after that you reload and you have like 1/1002, and if you haven't killed somebody within those 2 seconds, it resets it. But you could shoot somebody in the chest, and it you almost have to reload and fire immediately on somebody, and you get that anywhere shot. I just think that would have
It's like
been
a
great.
souped up crowd control perk.
Exactly.
It'd be great if it was actually a 3-second timer, because you'd never actually be able to take that second shot before the gun was done.
You'd have to do the.
Yeah, you have
so
1
It would
second
just
out
be
of the
this
3
constant
seconds.
tease of something you could never actually achieve.
Is
No,
that really
that's
how
when
long
you'd
it
see the
takes?
guys that do the reload canceling. Like you'd see them really start to shine.
Yeah. Oh
All
man.
right. I didn't know it was that long to reload it. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's like
It's
hold on, let me think of my. Okay, there we go. Yeah, something like
So I usually fire it, then go get a cup of coffee, and it's about done.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. What's funny is in battle, that animation, there's no way that you would like take the shot and then be like, I'm just gonna cock this rifle back and then reposition it, you know?
Right,
Like
just
in a
beat
real
somebody over
battle.
the head with it.
Yeah, you'd be like, bam, oh my god, fiddling with it and then get it back up, you know?
I've seen it.
You guys saw the full scale replica of it, right?
Yeah.
It literally is like 12 feet long.
I think the
Wow.
actual length of that replica was like 6 foot 8 inches, something like that.
Wow. I did not see that, and I can't believe somebody made a replica of it.
Yeah.
It's huge.
The funny
That's
thing about
amazing.
that, the guy lives in Canada too, and he wants to go to like Comic-Con type stuff here in the U.S. So he's going to be traveling across the border with this giant ass rifle replica in his car.
I hope he calls it a space musket.
Yeah.
And the border control's like, what is this?
Do you guys remember
Space musket.
the weekly update where I think it was right before the game came out, and Deej and those guys were traveling overseas, and they took the cosplay replica of Thorn on the flight with them. And
God.
they snapped photos of all the TSA guys like scrutinizing the Thorn.
No, I didn't see it. I'll have to go look that up. It sounds awesome. Let's see. Let's look at some other questions here from YouTube. I'll let you guys think about this one. We won't immediately answer it, but this sounds like it would be fun for discussion. There were a lot of people wanting to know, if you could make an exotic weapon, what would it be? So I'll let you think about that. We'll come back to it later if I remember. There was a really good question here from Frisbee James, and he said, what and how much does Bungie need to add to House of Wolves to make Destiny sustainable to content? Because I know a lot of us are really feeling burnout right now, and I know the time period from House of Wolves to Comet is going to be about the same length of times.
That's gonna be hard. I think if I don't know. I don't think that they're gonna be able to do this. But I mean, everything's gonna be their story, and those kind of things are needed. Levels in a strike and a raid and all that stuff. But I think what this game really needs is custom game modes to make it relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Like some sort of feature like that needs to be added in there to make it relevant till comment.
I definitely agree with you there. Custom game modes just can't really come quick enough. I don't know if they'll be able to do them though with their current peer-to-peer setup. I'm not sure if that's
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah.
That's why I said sadly. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. But if you're looking at something that will drop in House of Wolves that will also retain a large part of the community, it's something dramatic like that needs to happen.
Yeah.
I really think that, I know the Queen's Bounty's got just one shot and then completely down the shaft after that.
Uh-huh.
But if they brought them back and allowed a similar reforging system and maybe let you reforge their armor and all that, and then they did a thing where it was, boots and gauntlets this one time, and then next month it's chest piece and gauntlets or whatever, like I really feel like that would add a lot, because right now every month it's Iron Banner, and that's the one event right now that I look forward to.
Yeah,
and
PvE
I like.
players
Do you
are
though?
Salty
Do you?
about that too.
Do you?
I do. I like the Iron Banner.
I loved Inferno. I need Inferno in my life. I have a fire in me, and it burns.
I loved Inferno too, but there wasn't any rewards that were specific to Inferno.
It doesn't.
One thing that
don't
makes
care.
Iron Banner great is that you can get these weapons and reforge them, and that adds another level of meta game to it that I think is really fun. And if they did that with the Queen's Bounties as well, because there's a bunch of cool weapons from the Queen's
No,
Bounties.
I completely
And now
agree.
we can't get them. Like I want what is it? What's the sniper rifle?
The Chosen.
Is it the Chosen? No,
The
that's
Chosen.
The Chosen is
it the
from,
Queen's
the
Emissary?
Queen
World.
Supremacy, right?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Supremacy.
the Supremacy, that's it.
Yeah, Supremacy. Yeah, like that's an awesome sniper rifle, and you can't get it right now. I'd like to get it and then re-roll it, just like Iron Banner stuff. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, I think that was the first sniper rifle that people discovered that you could get the final round one-hit KO with it.
Yep.
Because it has roughly the same stats as Aphrodite's spear.
Yeah. Different looks, you know?
Yeah,
Like if you get
I would
Queen's
love to
armor
see
with different
all
looks.
the vendors in the tower at one time.
Ooh. Yeah.
I'd just love for there to be options. I arrive to the tower and, I could go do Trials of Osiris, or I could do Inferno, or I could do Iron Banner, or the Queens, or all of it. I wish it was all there and kind of look like something from Skyrim, where you go into a town or the tower, and there's all these different characters that you can interact with for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the amount of players that can be in an instance, I think it's 16, or for the tower, I think 16 is the max for a single instance in the game right now.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like a issue with the memory or like the older generation consoles, or is that just like a Bungie server issue probably?
I think it's probably got something to do with the old consoles.
If I mean, if 16's the number for matchmaking, because they're obviously using a matchmaking formula to put you
Mhm.
together in the tower, right? Give me 16 players in a PvP match, right?
Ooh.
I really
Ooh.
want that. I really want to
Yeah,
do.
I want a big
those-
team battle.
Yeah, give me big team
I
battle.
would love big team
Give
battle.
me- Coagulation. Damn it!
Yeah, it would be
I want
amazing.
a team battle in the Cosmodrome
I know.
Yes, on patrols. Oh my god.
with sparrows.
Hold that thought for just a second. I do want to chime in on the what Bungie needs to do to make House of Wolves sustainable.
Yes.
I remember back early in Destiny's development when they were saying, like, we have this many people and they're always going to be working on projects, so there's going to be a continuous amount of content coming out. That hasn't really followed through yet, I don't think. At least the continuous content part. I think if they want it to be relevant, they need to have more continual updates. Not necessarily adding new stuff, but just making more interesting things into the game that the players can go experience. So 1 week we have Trials of Osiris needs to hurry up and get out of the oven.
Oh god, yeah.
I'm getting impatient on that.
Definitely.
Like the Trials of Osiris, Queen's Wrath, Iron Banner, those three things are really huge. Let's see something like what you guys are talking about, like more of an open world PvP event type thing, where for the next week the moon is now a PvP zone, but if you venture there, you might be able to find legendary items or something kind of scattered about the moon. So go hunt, have fun, bring some friends.
Man, that would be so awesome.
That'd be sweet. Running
Going with
like
teams of
Mad
three,
Max Beyond Thunderdome, like Mad Max style. You land on the moon in a team of 3, and you're just like watching your back everywhere you go.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
it'd be kind of like DayZ, but for Destiny. That would be fun.
That would be a lot of fun. I just like to see customizable modifiers for missions. So, like, if I want to make a mission a heroic mission, let me put in Light Switch. Let me put in, Arc Burn. Let me do all that stuff and get my friends together, and we'll just make something really challenging instead of just having to make up stuff. Like try to do the Nightfall shotguns only.
That's not a challenge anymore.
Let us like kind of move these modifiers around. The modifiers are in place. The missions are in place. Let us combine the two in any way we want. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I agree.
And I don't think it would cost them much to do. I mean, it seems like it'd be a pretty easy way to add a lot of length to the game.
yeah. I think the biggest problem for them is that the reward systems are inherently hooked into the game completion. So they have to figure out a way to untangle all that so you can have these custom games, whether it be PvP or PvE, mixed in with the regular content, like a Nightfall, because if you went into a strike and set up all the different modifiers for it, obviously they're not going to give you rewards in a way because of the exploits that would inevitably come out of it,
Yeah, like
So I think that's the problem.
Let's do Nexus with solar burn. Well, the only thing is do solar damage with a few Vex in there, so it's not going to be an issue. So you just get to clear through it even quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, do you remember the skulls from Halo 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and I think that's kind of what you're talking about, where just for the fun of it, doing it mythic style, where all skulls on. I just remember this idiotic quest I had to do all of Halo 3's campaign on Mythic, and I got about halfway through before I just said hold
So
all my
brutal.
hair out. Yeah.
It is brutal. It was like a Dark Souls level challenge. It was very difficult to do, but
Yeah.
it was fun and rewarding in its own way.
I was in a dorm at the time, and my roommate and I, we just skipped class for like 2 days straight and got through on mythic level difficulty. That was a fun time.
Wow, that's commitment.
That is commitment.
Yeah, commitment. I think we were committing to the wrong thing there.
Yeah, well, I don't know. College, Halo.
Yeah.
You can do it on Master Chief Collection.
Yeah.
All of them on Mythic.
There was going to be a question I was going to get back to. Oh yeah, the exotic weapon
Exotics.
one. Yeah, exotic weapon. Have you guys given any thought to that? If you guys would make, if Bungie was suddenly like, hey, we like what you guys do for the community, come design a weapon for us or something. What would you make?
I would like an SMG that does like massive damage and has a high fire rate that only does massive damage when you're really close up. So like you got to be
Low
almost
range.
inside, real low range. So you got to be almost inside shotgun range, but once you're inside there, you'd burn down people super quick. It kind of worked like a last word.
Nice.
I think that'd be
That was a
really
dig.
fun.
Okay.
But the range would be such that like once you got out to where you'd be using an auto rifle, it really kind of you wouldn't want to use it out there. But once you got inside that really sweet spot, it would just be a monster.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I've given it a lot of thought. Sadly, I guess I was like, hey, early on, I review a lot of weapons. Maybe Bungie will be like, hey, you review weapons good. Come design one. I really liked the scavenger mechanic for the hunter class. I don't particularly use it too much, but I'd like to see that kind of incorporated into a weapon in some way, and then or just try to build a weapon around a really bad perk like vacuum. Like, why would I ever want to have vacuum on a weapon? I dismantle that every time I get a weapon with vacuum on it. Okay, what would make it good? Well, you have to have incentive to pick up ammo. What would that do? Maybe it'll increase your grenade or your melee cooldown similar to the hunter one, or it'll have a stacking movement speed increase, or it'll stack your stability. Like some sort of I would name it like the Scavenger's Creed or something like that, and then
Nice.
like just kind of go with it from there. Obviously, you want to pick up anytime you pick up an item, like anything, it will help you out in some way. So I thought that would be an interesting take on it. As far as what weapon it would be, I think a scavenger would probably use like a scout rifle or something like that. So it'd probably be like a primary weapon scout rifle.
Nice.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead.
Go for it.
No, so for me, I thought that something a perk that would be truly exotic to build a platform around would be one that it didn't matter what shield you had, what elemental shield you had, that the rounds themselves would overpenetrate. Would be damage. You wouldn't need a burn. That it would be an all elemental burn, right? But it would be like it would be something that would be used to knock shields off, so maybe like a secondary, and then you're still switching to your primary, but you've got this like a universal tool, like more than that you could
A
use
universal remote, you would say.
one would say. I'm trying to create a new one, but the problem is that I spend so much time looking at the ones they have and thinking, the hard light should have been this gun, right? The hard light should have
Right,
been a auto rifle that knocks off, that can penetrate, doesn't necessarily take down the elemental shield, but it over penetrates any shield.
Yeah, shoot through shields. Yeah.
Right. Because it's made out of hard light. I guess
Yeah.
I figured that something like that would have been a really cool perk to throw in.
Yeah. I give it a little bit of thought. I haven't thought this fully through, but I do miss the Needler from Halo. And if that was ever combined into an exotic,
Which Needler though? Like Halo 1 Needler, Halo 2, Halo 3.
it would have to be
big
balanced.
difference.
It would have to be balanced with the game. So I think Needler in general, because like
Okay.
Halo 4 Needler is like an OP weapon, whereas 2 and 1 not the same. Okay, but back to my exotic. I think it would be a special. have no idea what the name would be, but I think it would have a type of perk just like the Needler. So there would be a little bit of tracking, but then also the super combined nature that the Needler does in Halo. I think it would have the same type of thing in the game, but it would combine with other people being able to shoot the same weapon. So you could stack super combustion onto it. So if more people are using that same weapon and using it for tracking and it hits the critical mass, that you can have those explosions. Because in Reach they had the Needler rifle, and you could make people super combined with the Needler rifle as well. So yeah, I think I'd like to see that. That'd be pretty fun. Because then you can get a fire team together and be like, let's use the Needler super combined explosions on enemies, and it would stack further and kill them quicker.
Yeah, that sounds fun. The cool thing about the Needler too is that it took a minute to kill somebody.
Exactly. It had to reach critical mass.
You had to be smart about using it.
Yeah. If you didn't hit critical mass, then it didn't do that much damage. But as
Mhm.
soon as it hit it, then it was an instant kill.
Let's see, what other questions, what other gems do we have here amongst the YouTube comments? Well, how do you guys deal with burnout? I know we're all probably feeling it.
Man, they haven't made a Burnout game in so long, but I still really love Burnout Paradise.
I know. Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, that was San Francisco Rush. Never mind.
Oh, I missed that game. That was fun too.
I play other games. Right now I'm playing Bloodborne.
Yep.
I can't play one game all the time. I like to play this game a lot because of the community, basically. Is I really like hanging out with all these new people I've met. I really like interacting with everybody. This game has more of a community than any other game I've ever been involved in. But my personal time, I spend it in all sorts of different ways. And one of those ways, Ori and the Blind Forest came out last week. I played a bunch of that. This week I've been playing a little bit of Bloodborne and Bloodborne Loading Screen, which is an awesome mini game.
It's really good.
No kidding. My God.
The sad thing is you see
40
that
seconds
a
later.
lot. If you're not familiar with Dark Souls, well, even if you are, you're going to be seeing that loading screen a lot.
Oh, yes.
I've been I picked up Titanfall on Xbox. All the DLCs became free. And I had a copy of the game from wherever a long time ago. When I think I bought the game, the console, it came with it. And so I threw that in there and downloaded all the DLC. And for the first time, I guess I had the game for months now, and never played it. So I started jumping in and playing a little Titanfall. And I've had actually the multiplayer in that is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very,
it's fun.
very, very mobile game. It's very fun to play. I went from PlanetSide to Titanfall for a little bit, and that was a really cool experience just because the class I played in PlanetSide was all about mobility. And so I was like, this is fun. I already have a leg up on all the noobs that are starting out. Cool. As far as dealing with burnout, I actually, if I feel like I'm burnt out on a video game, I just don't play it. And I know it's kind of my job to play Destiny, but if I need some footage, I'll go grab it. If I feel like killing some people, throwing some knives to the heads and PvP, I'll go do that for a little bit. But if I feel bored, I'll get up. I'm primarily a photographer. I'll go out. I'll go do some photography. Go hang out with friends. It's not always about the video game, I guess. So yeah, just go do other shit. If you're burnt out, the Destiny's always gonna be there.
Yeah.
And my one of the big things is a lot of people are like, Bungie's losing so many people during this lull in the game right now, in between Dark Below and House of Wolves. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Word of mouth travels very, very quickly amongst the video game community. Mm-hmm. So if Bungie hits a home run on House of Wolves, we're gonna see a lot of players come back as well from being burnt out. So I'm okay with it.
I will say that House of Wolves, though, a lot of people already own House of Wolves, meaning that they already bought that DLC.
True.
If House of Wolves isn't great, Bungie may have a problem later with Comet or with Destiny 2. if they don't, a lot of people are complaining that the Dark Below didn't have enough content for the amount of time we had to wait between December and House of Wolves. So if House of Wolves is a similar situation, they might actually start losing those people for good.
Yeah, I think they do know that.
I think so too. I think that's why House of Wolves was delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Real quick on the burnout thing. I think I'm in Patrick's camp as well. Like, if I get burnt out on something, I just take a break from it. I just, go outside, take a walk, write some music, go to dinner, see a movie. Like, there's a lot of things. You don't have to be obsessed with the game 100% of the time. And these type of games lend themselves to obsession, and that's where a lot of the burnout comes from. So if you can pace yourself and be okay with the fact that you've already experienced the main content, but there's other stuff that you might find that's an intricate little nuance, like different drops of Vanguard weapons and all that. And if you enjoy the basics of the game, play it for the basics of it. And this is something also I noticed. Some people tend to complain for the sake of complaining.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And when you do that, like when you do that in a raid, you might not notice it immediately, but enough times complaining, you make yourself automatically disappointed over anything that you're doing in that experience, So if you do the raid purely because you're just looking for one thing, and then as soon as you get it, you're done with the game, then maybe you're already at that burnout stage and you need to take a break from it, because the raid is technically fun. I mean, it's a fun experience going into a 6-man team and conquering an experience with people. So that is fundamentally fun. And if you're not having fun with it right now, then maybe just take a break for a week, or play a different game, play Bloodborne and get pissed off with that, and then come back to Destiny.
That'll take all of like 30 minutes to happen.
Oh my god, that first boss fight, I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Anyways,
our raid teams had a lot of fun just like mixing up the challenges, like trying to get through the bridge encounter on Crota's End with everybody's only using No Land Beyond,
Nice.
Or everybody's putting artificial restrictions on each other, just in an attempt to change up the gameplay. The shotgun buff, I think, was huge because it made shotguns like a usable weapon in Destiny PvE, and they hadn't been. So it's just been fun to like re-explore all of those missions, all of those strikes, and the raids with using shotguns. It's just so much fun. I hope in future versions of Destiny, I hope they expand upon how many weapon types there are, because I think that adds a lot of replayability.
Definitely. Well, and also in Halo, the shotgun was the shotgun, and it would down enemies. It was awesome to use, and it was high risk, high reward. And when they first came out with vanilla Destiny, it was not the case. And now it feels like shotguns are how they're supposed to be. High risk, high reward.
Yep.
So it's
they
fun
feel good
now.
If you're going to get in the face of a Knight Major, I mean, you need to make sure you're killing him. And that shotgun's got two shots to... You're going to be in his face. And like you said, high risk, high reward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Definitely. I apologize to the YouTuber who put this comment. I forgot to put your name down there. But what's you guys' favorite like PvE strike? We've been wanting to get like more PvE discussion in here. So
yeah,
the Undying Mind.
Oh yeah,
I've been really enjoying. It's just like this all-out brawl, like going up those stairs with all the Minotaurs coming down, and then the fight itself with the huge Undying Mind just kind of floating back and forth, but also all the enemies just spawning all over the place. I have a blast every time I play that one in the Rock playlist.
Nice. I like that one myself personally. But my favorite is the Nexus Strike, just because of the pacing of where it starts in that open world area. And then you go into a fallen territory and you're fighting through them, and then you start descending into Earth, and then down even further and drop into this arena. I just think that is such a well-designed strike. I love it.
I like that one too.
Yeah, a little bit of both of those for me. I like the Undying Mind because of that. Do you remember the Halo 3 custom game mode? It was like Conquest, but you had a linear type map with control points. And it was like this ebb and flow of game. It's like a game of tug of war almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It feels like it's the PvE version of tug of war.
Yeah.
along those stair steps. And,
Yeah,
Yeah.
going up and down as like more waves advance.
and they're designed to push you back outside.
Yeah.
It's designed that way. And I got to talk to one of the guys who designed that level, and he he's like, maybe I put a few too many in there, but
Nope, perfect. It's perfect.
Well, why did he make it so you can't glimmer farm?
I
I
know.
mean, were they worried
because
that
it's
people would reach
exclusive.
max? Oh yeah.
Because of you think about it though. Think about the Crota's End, right? Think about the raid
Yeah.
and the bridge encounter. When you get to the other side, where not the first bridge, you get to the other side, and you before you walk into the light, if you just turned around, those ads would just continuously spawn there. Think about that.
Right.
That is like the
But-
loot cave times 1,000.
Do they continuously spawn on the Undying Mind? I haven't tested it because we just
No.
smoke through it every time.
I don't believe they do.
But if you fall off, they do. If you jump off, they will.
Hmm.
Well, the same thing at the Gatekeeper. You know,
Yeah,
jump off
in
and
the
roll back.
yeah, at least in the Gatekeeper, you can't farm Glimmer there.
Yeah, you can.
Oh wait.
No, you
Oh
can-
yeah,
you
you
can-
can.
Gatekeeper
I was
can
thinking
block
of
Gatekeeper.
I was thinking of Templar.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, Gatekeeper. I mean, that's like if you have two people, you can smoke through that so fast.
Mhm.
Pop your polyphage, get your max glimmer.
Anything but exclusion zone, I'll take.
God, yes.
Yeah,
As far,
That one.
exclusion zone. Yeah.
as far as my favorite strike, I'm gonna have to say it was Devil's Lair. Mainly because like all the fights are just so different from each other. Like this first one is all about defense, proper placement. You have waves that you have to kind of defend against.
Yep.
And then second fight is all about, this hulking enemy that will just wreck you. It's blocking your path, so you have to advance. And you finally get to this giant orb thing, and it takes both of those previous fights and combines them into one. You got waves that'll be coming at you, and then you gotta kill the giant thing that's also attacking you. I think it's a good strike because it teaches someone how to play the game for the most part. It's like here's how you can expect encounters to roll out, and I think it's a good tutorial type level.
Did you guys get to see the where the Bungie developers were talking about that scene where the spider tank drops in that strike, right? That open space. There's a crater there. Did you guys get to hear the lore behind that crater and why it's there?
I remember them talking about it, but I can't remember what they said.
Yeah.
So when we were doing, Rob Adams and I were doing like dry runs before we did we were practicing the route that we would take and before the ride along, and I remember him telling me that story and just being so just intrigued about what's next, because so if you take a look at that scene where the spider tank, that space where that spider tank is, there's the definite crater there, and there's pipes that you're standing on shooting at the spider tank, right? If you're staying back and sniping, those pipes provided the fuel. They went from the refinery and brought it out to the launch pad. And if you look up in the skyline above you or in front of you, you can see the last colony ship on the launch pad. And so the lore behind the Cosmodrome is that as the last colony ship was being fueled, there was an accident, and or we don't know, but somehow the tubes that provided the fuel exploded, and so the last colony ship never left Earth, and all the colonists are still possibly on that ship in a cryostasis, right, in chambers up there, and we could possibly
Whoa.
have something to do with that in the future, discovering
cool.
that space. And but yeah, this idea of everybody on Earth trying to get to the Cosmodrome, all those cars that are parked outside, right? and at the
Yeah.
gates,
Mhm.
that that's the last ship leaving. The Fallen are all over the place. Um, and they're trying to climb the walls to get to the last ship. Humans are, and they're trying to get into the Cosmodrome and get on that last ship. And there's a fight that takes place, amongst humans to try to keep them from stopping that last, or destroying that last ship. So it's a really interesting space. But yeah, I love that strike. Now that you talk about it, I really like that march through that space.
And
So I guess we all missed the ship.
Yeah, we all missed
Yeah.
it.
During the alpha, I must have spent 3 consecutive hours trying to get to that thing.
I know, right? Yeah, in the alpha, I would go explore areas that I wasn't supposed to, and you'd get the turnaround message.
Yeah.
And in the alpha, it lasted 10 seconds. Like the dead zones that you get into, and it has a countdown timer. Those lasted 10 seconds in the alpha. So maybe some people I think some people did get some areas that they not necessarily weren't supposed to get to, but yeah, I guess they weren't supposed to get to them because they were able to live too long. Because 4 seconds just seems like a really arbitrary number to let someone live.
And some of those spaces, if you get too far out of them, they can kill the game. They can kill that instance.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about a multiplayer space where you're not, it's not like it's like killing a Crucible game, but you're all these people are just out there, glimmer farming, or doing bounties or patrols or whatever, and all of a sudden somebody gets out of the map and kills that instance for everybody.
Let's see. What else? I guess another follow-up question. What's you guys' favorite PvP map?
A Burning Shrine.
Okay. I'm gonna take a mental note of everyone's here because I have a theory.
I personally love the Burning Shrine.
Okay.
I think
Yeah, I
it's-
gotta go Burning
it's my
Shrine
favorite.
too.
Well, damn it.
Especially in Control. I mean, I really love playing that on Control.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um.
I like the design of it and the look. It's fun to
Yeah.
play.
The flank routes are really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That middle area is a blast.
Yeah.
What's the Venus map with the B flag that's kind of on that peninsula?
Shores of Time.
Shores of Time.
Shores of Time I really enjoy as well.
Yeah. That one always feels like a sniping fest. Who can control C point, therefore they can control B point.
You know what I
Yeah.
like though is that it's got that circular area right near that C point where you can use that to get to those snipers.
True. That's where we usually mount up our advance. It's like, okay, crowd around here. Let's go in, and then we just flood out and mow through everyone. As far as favorite map, I'd probably say Rusted Lands. And my reasoning behind it, I wish you guys had had a little bit wider choice in all the ones you liked. But my point kind of I think it'll hold true, is Rusted Lands is one of the few maps that doesn't have a lane system in it. At least when I try to think about it, I don't think it does. I'm sure you can make one there, but like Burning Shrine, Pantheon, what's the other one? Exodus Blue for PlayStation. There's a couple more. The Mars one. They're all based on a 3-lane system where you have a middle lane and then a lower and then usually an upper lane to the right and left. All of those maps are basically based on that principle where you can divide them into thirds. Mm-hmm. And those are really, really easy to design, but those usually end up having a lot of problems in terms of balance, and we usually see that on, Asylum is also a 3-lane design. And so we see that there. A lot of the maps, like the B point, is usually always this really contested area, and it's always difficult to kind of manage around that, but it does make for very interesting games at the same time due to the imbalanced nature of them. Whereas Rusted Lands, I guess they're more asymmetrical. I guess that would be the proper term for them. Like Shores of Time, Rusted Lands, Firebase Delphi. Is that? No, that one's kind of 3 lanes.
What's the other Mars map? The one where C flag is always the one that determines who's going to win.
The map I hate. I can't remember it right now, but
yeah, I can't remember the name of it.
That,
God, I hate that
Why
map.
are we blanking? Played so much Iron Banner last
I
week.
know,
I
right?
know.
I think I see Pope Bear Googling it.
Yeah, I am.
There's a lot of maps, or what's the
Blind Watch.
Yeah, Blind Watch. There we go.
That's it. Blind Watch.
What's the circular one on the moon that was added with
Anomaly.
the DLC? Yeah, Anomaly.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, Anomaly, and then the Cauldron. The Cauldron.
Cauldron. Yep. that's what it
All
is.
those are kind of asymmetrical designs. They don't have lanes associated with them or lanes of travel that everyone's expected. There's going to be more. There's going to be like circular routes or squared off routes that people will generally do, and those are the ones that I tend to do a hell of a lot better on. So that's why I tend to like those, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like Twilight Gap. I really like the style of that map, and just to me, anything that gets me an opportunity to get in close and introduce them to my last word is a really good map for me.
Twilight Gap is a PlayStation exclusive, right?
No, Twilight Gap is
Yeah,
That's
both.
multi-plat.
it's multi-platform.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah,
Exodus Blue is the only one that's vanilla.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Twilight Gap. I like fighting for the B flag all the time on that one.
yeah.
Because there's
Yeah.
kind of 2 levels right above it.
Mhm.
I like that.
Oh, I take my Titan in there with armamentarium on and put on the lightning grenade.
Yeah.
And there's not much that's gonna survive in that area.
What's your guys' favorite loadout for that map?
Ooh, 'cause that's a
Blade
that's a,
Dancer.
that's a pretty wide map as far as
Yeah, Blade Dancer.
Blade
That's
Dancer. Weapons optional.
so.
uh,
I like using. I have a last word with a shotgun, and typically I do. It depends on the team that I'm running with. So if I'm going, if I'm having to carry, I'll do a striker class. But I really enjoy taking a defender Titan into B and utilizing him to keep control of that lane.
Nice.
guns.
I liked this Iron Banner. I was using a lot of Eidolon Ally on that map, and
For real?
and
Really?
yeah, and yep, and what's
Was it
the
working?
Bad Juju. Oh yeah, it was working great. Not Eidolon Ally. I'm sorry.
What?
I said the wrong one. What's the raid pulse rifle?
Oversoul's Edict.
Oversoul Edict.
Oversoul
yeah.
Edict. Yes, I was using that and Bad Juju a lot for kind of mid to long range stuff, and then obviously Fellwinter's Night, and then the Blade Dancer. I would just go every time I got super, I'd just go ham, kind of in that middle area. That's kind of in that straight lane between A and C,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and there's that room on the top floor. There'd always be traffic in there, so
Oh,
as soon
yeah.
as I got my super, I'd just head toward that area.
Nice.
I tend to roll in there with just I use the same loadout on every single map. I think Tefty can attest to that. It's just Hawk Moon and then a sniper rifle.
That's what I saw.
Yeah.
Your LDR, right?
Yeah, my LDR. It's just I'm
So
getting
why-
really good at using that as a shotgun. now.
Why the LDR
Nice.
and not like the Predator's Revenge?
We've talked about this
Yeah,
before.
we've talked about it before. My main reasoning is armor penetrating rounds, even though they got heavily nerfed into Oblivion, they still sometimes work. So even though I know the locations where they work now, so I can still take advantage of some of them. The other reason
Nice.
is I mainly do skirmishes, and Praetus Revenge will not kill someone if they have a res shield on with a headshot. It's gonna take two shots. So LDR is just my go-to weapon because, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I have an LDR that is, I don't know how to explain it. It's just amazing, and I got a crazy stat roll on it, and when you find a gun like that that just will will blow you away, it almost makes me not use my Praetus Revenge.
Hmm.
I really want to get a LDR that just has 6 rounds on it, even though I lose armor penetrating.
Oh man.
Like, just LDR with 6 rounds, where with Field Scout would be glorious to me.
See, that's why I think. Oh wait, without armor piercing rounds, will it still kill with the red shield?
Yes, yes.
Oh, nice. Yeah, okay.
Like what is it? Patience and Time will still kill with a headshot with a red shield on as well, and that's a way lower impact.
Oh, nice. Yeah, but you're giving up Hawkmoon then.
Yeah.
I change my loadout every map. Like I have favorites per map. Like for instance, Fire-based Delphi, I usually go Last Word and a shotgun. Rusted Lands, I usually do Might of Multi-Tool, Radiant Dance Machines, and usually shotgun on that too. But yeah, I feel like every map has these different nuances that I like to. I was gonna say exploit, and then I don't think that's the right term.
You want to?
No, I think it is.
You want to synergize. You want to synergize.
Yeah.
There we go.
Synergy. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. Yeah.
I like to switch up weapons too. So, as I get new weapons from like drops or whatever, I just like to check them out and bring them over to the Crucible, see how they are. I've used Kostov, I've used the Stranger's Rifle. All these things are just fun to use.
I threw up my LDR on your screen.
Rodeo, Field Scout, and then is that you have final round on your? Oh God,
That's awesome.
It's a 6 round.
that is awesome.
It's a 6 round LDR with final round, and you can throw up the stability almost maxed out if I take off. Because final round in PvP is amazing. If you take out Field Scout and you put on perfect balance, you get 4 rounds with essentially the 4th round being a body shot.
Yeah, and LDR is
Nice.
the lowest impact that you can have that on to get a 1-shot body shot with final round. Yeah, that's nasty.
I really like this one.
What scope do you have on that?
Right now I'm using Ambush.
Okay, good.
So I got a quick question.
Mhm.
When you go into a strike, what is your particular loadout that you like to pick?
Okay. It depends on the strike. I'm trying to do my Titan loadout video, and I suddenly realized that I change my weapon loadout so often on it that I can't be like, hey, here's the loadout I use. No, it's just whatever I'm doing, I change it. On my Hunter, though, it's usually going to be my red hand, and then like my red hand is the hand cannon, and then usually running Galahorn as the exotic, and then secondary gets changed up to either shotgun or sniper rifle, depending on the
Nice.
on the dungeon.
But pretty much hand cannon.
Yeah, hand cannon all the way.
Yep.
I'm not that far off. I really enjoy the like Timur's Lash, and if
Nice.
it's not a burn, I really like Timur's Lash, and so I use that quite a bit. And yeah, I got
Do you know what the role is? Can you
Yeah.
say it real quick?
yeah, absolutely. It's got Outlaw, Luck in the Chamber, and Field Scout.
Okay,
Nice.
So
Mini
I
Hawkmoon.
just
Good roll.
what's that?
it's kind of a mini Hawkmoon with Luck in the Chamber.
Yeah, it took me 120 motes of light to get that one.
Oh Jesus.
So yeah, I like it. So I tend to use that, and any number of sniper rifles, I really like them, or the sword breaker shotgun,
Nice.
and then I'll run.
I do like that in PvE.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been using that in PvE.
Yeah,
I like it.
absolutely. And then I really enjoy the Hunger of Crota or Mjolnir's Hammer.
Nice.
Briar.
I can't even answer this question because I feel like I change my loadout in every strike I go into.
So often.
Like, if I'm playing with a warlock, I'll almost always want to bring bad juju just to complement Obsidian Mind because Nova bombs are fun. But every other character, it's like sometimes I just feel like using Timur's Lash in a strike, not because it's
Yeah.
good, but because it's different.
For sure. Yeah.
So
I
I can't really answer that question.
I end up going Fatebringer a lot, and then switch back between like Black Hammer, Icebreaker, and whatever shotgun that I'm loving at the moment. And now that I have a Galahorn on the Xbox, I typically rock the Galahorn when it comes boss time. But if it's not boss time, then Sometimes I like corrective measure, just chilling in there because it's 100 bullets,
Mhm.
and it's PvE, so the more the merrier, So yeah,
That's really good at Nightfall Strikes. Corrective
Yeah.
measure.
yep,
On my Titan, I try to do the defender spec where I just use a heavy weapon. So, uh, I for some reason I pretend that my Titan's like an angry German, and it's like you will taste my Thunderlord, ja.
Was ist los mit dieser scheiße Ding?
Ja.
That's never
That's
coming
that's
out of my
ruin
head.
So I just run around killing stuff, ruin wings. It's like, oh, I haven't had heavy ammo drop. Just use a heavy ammo synthesis, thanks, sir. And just keep mowing through enemies, and my team's all just running behind me, collecting up orbs that I poop out.
Ruin Wings is
awesome.
one of my favorite pieces of exotic gear.
Mhm.
It's just so good.
When it works, it's amazing.
It just adds fun to the game.
Fun.
it's cool.
Fun for us, yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would agree that if I had to take one gun, if I could only have one gun for my inventory, I would honestly have to choose if I could only choose one primary, I would have to choose the Fatebringer as the pistol or the one gun that I could keep.
Yep, so good.
Yeah, that is a pretty versatile weapon. I definitely like it.
I like it a lot.
I don't think there's a soul in the world that's like, you know what, Fatebringer? No, I don't like it that much.
Meh.
Meh.
Fatebringer sucks, guys. Overrated.
Yeah, don't believe the hype.
I think if you ever were to rate weapons that people want and then use, it's like Fatebringer, or it's like Galahorn, and then Fatebringer is right up there for number 2.
Yeah,
The people I know who are still running Vault of Glass aren't doing it for the Vex anymore. They're doing it for
Yeah.
Fatebringer.
They're not getting the fusion rifle. Not Vex, the actual
dude, that
fusion
thing is
rifle.
so rare.
I don't even know what that thing's called.
Praetorian foil.
Praetorian
There you
foil.
It's like rarer than exotics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still haven't gotten corrective measure from it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I only got that like last month.
Yeah.
No kidding. Jeez.
Yeah.
I've been lucky for everything except for Praetorian foil on both accounts, on PS4 and Xbox One.
It's a good one. I have to admit it's something that when you're doing the
Oracles.
oracles, it just decimates the oracles.
Mhm.
One shot.
One shot. Gone.
That's what I hear.
How about
everybody
Found
tells me.
Verdict? Does that take care of oracles as well in one shot? I think it does after the recent, shotgun buff.
Yeah, I don't use it. I tend to use the vision. If I'm going Vault of Glass, I'm using Vision of Confluence. I'm using I have a Void Damage LDR,
Okay.
and then I'm typically picking the Truth Rocket Launcher or Galahorn as my, or Corrective Measure as my heavy. But yeah, the when I'm going into the oracles, the I don't feel like anything really beats the Vision of Confluence ammo size, because it's really when it's what happens if two people decide to reload at the same time. I think that's when you get that wipe, right?
Super
Like,
good
run.
advice is a good cure-all for that.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because it doesn't register as hits when you hit a oracle, so you just basically have unlimited
I forgot to
ammo.
put that in that machine gun comparison video.
Mm.
God.
It's such a
It's
piece
the only
of,
good thing about that gun.
yeah, it's such a piece of trash. I mean,
And
it's the,
oversouls, right?
yeah. Is it
Oracles and
oversouls too?
oversouls. Super good advice.
Because someone's going to use super good advice on Crota just to shoot the
Yes,
oversoul.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I prepared for us to not wipe, I guess. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to our 10th Planet Destiny podcast. We are officially in the double digits, and this has been Patrick Casey with Planet Destiny.
Is it Briar Rabbit from the Briar Rabbit channel?
Sorry, I think I stepped on you. You might want to do it one more time.
This is Briar Rabbit with the Briar Rabbit channel?
No, I think I just stepped on you. You do it again.
Ah! This is Briar Rabbit with the Briar Rabbit channel.
Okay, that sounded clean.
This is
Oh, damn it. You've been doing so good.
Pro mode engaged.
This has been Tefty Tef with the Tefty Tef channel.
And yeah, this has been Pope Bear, and you can find me on Twitter at Pope Bear, Popebear.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you next week.